Hello again. This is Tim with MPX. We are here in sunny Portland, Maine, enjoying the beginnings of fall foliage. I had the good fortune of being out in northern New Hampshire and northern Vermont yesterday, and those colors are pretty amazing. So we're probably a week away from that, right where we are. There are a couple people that are signing in as we're speaking, but it looks like most have logged in. So, out of respect for everyone's time, we'll go ahead and get started. So, we're here today to talk about the consumer document and how to keep and grow today's fuel customers. So, first of all, again, I'm Tim Cole. I'm our Chief Customer Officer here at MPX, and with me today is Mandy Fish, who's our Director of Technology, and also as an aside, I am kind of a traditional full service customer, and Mandy is a modern cash customer.
Good morning.
All right, so from a housekeeping standpoint, the phones are muted. Questions, though, are really encouraged, and we'll go ahead and answer at the end. If you could please enter those questions into the chat window and notate to be directed to the organizer. So from an agenda, we've got document considerations. Really in this world of when consumers are living their full lives with their priorities and all the things that they've got going on in their world, how do we kind of intersect and support them in that endeavor? We'll talk about document fundamentals, document enhancements, document strategy, including best practices that we've gleaned and that we'll share with you, and then practical things that you can do now. So first of all, really, what's kind of the background that has gotten us and our customers down this path? It's the reality that consumers have changed. And the question is, has your organization changed accordingly? So with the internet and dual working families, the pace of our lives, the exposure to Amazon and other great companies, consumers insist on having control. They're spread thin, they're functioning, operating at night, on the weekends, they're interacting with our organizations online, and they're empowered. They're empowered by the freedom of doing what makes sense for them and for their own families. And that means they can switch companies for service, for savings. So, and they're not stopping in to your fuel delivery offices like they used to. They're not even calling like they used to. In some ways, they're kind of tucked away. They're almost hidden. So, kind of the points of interaction, those moments where there is dialogue, really come down to the documents and the web portal. Those are the recurring, day-to-day kinds of encounters that our fuel customers are having with our companies. So documents are so much more. So a really important question, are the documents that you're delivering to your customers really part of a legacy solution, driven and designed more by internal needs, or are they really created with your customers in mind? So thinking differently about documents. So first of all, we'll talk about relationships and documents. Those aren't words that are generally paired together. Relationships that are typically developed face-to-face, over the telephone, over time. You know, you can show people how you feel. You can read social cues. Consumers in general, and specifically with energy companies, aren't really available to interact in those typical relationship building kinds of ways. So we all would love it to have those days of a personal exchange when fuel is being delivered, where or stopping by the office for coffee while inquiring about service or to pay a bill. Even a phone call would be nice to accomplish these same kinds of things. It's just not the same, however. In this generation and in this pace of life, few, if any, face-to-face encounters um, are taking place, and the phone is kind of avoided to a certain extent with today's pace. Those personal moments of truth, the former ways of interacting, um, just aren't taking place like we would prefer. So what's left? How do we shape today's relationships? How tell kind of your story, your brand message? How market to your customers? How to convey to them how you feel? Loyalty, revenue, your competitive advantage are built upon today's moments of truth, those points of interaction. And the reality is that today's moments of truth are those recurring documents such as invoices, statements, and your payment portal. There's tremendous opportunity in spite of the differences in how we're operating with our consumers today. It certainly is different. It's a different canvas. It's a different way of thinking. But the best of your peers are embracing this new reality and really making a difference. So certainly using our documents and bills to collect money, it really matters. Cash flow is so critical. It's so labor intensive to collect money, and certainly if there's confusion uh, with bills that the customers receive, that frustration will spill through, and it results in the wrong customer relationships. Customers, like all of us, are critical. We're all being judged. Just every bit of that interaction influences the way customers feel. So, as we talked about earlier, they're making quick decisions, particularly cash customers. If they're not experiencing what they wish, they'll seek it elsewhere. So, agitated customers are slow to pay, slow to grow, slow to refer a new word of mouth customer. So, to consider all those touch points. Each one contributes to positive or negative energy, and both are contagious. Certainly, positive energy is so much more enjoyable and creates a really bright future for generations to come. With that background, let me turn it over to Mandy to talk more specifically about the documents.
Thanks. So let's get down to the specifics here. First, let's just review some fundamentals. Really, a typical operational document has 3 sections. It has an account summary, which is typically high-level information about an account, such as the account number, the balance, and the statement date. And then there's transactional activity or account activity details, and this is typically for a particular statement period. And then the third section that all typical operational docs have are of remittance and payment information. Pretty standard, though it may look a little bit different from what we have shown here on screen. So some of the enhancements that we can talk about here, and this is really specific to the energy industry, because it is such a unique industry, and really what the customers are dealing with is very unique compared to other industries. Budget plan status. So if you offer budget plans or payment plans, this is a really important enhancement for documents. It's often either the number 1 or number 2 reason that people are going to call and have billing questions. It's going to be about those budgets, where they currently stand, how much they owe, why their budget payment is what it is. A lot of those things, that is all data and information that can be presented on the customer statement. And since that data is available, it's really a great way to present the customer with answers before they even have the questions. Customer specific details. So being able to show in a sort of dynamic way based on the customer, who the customer is, what type of account they have, really being able to make the statement specific and personalized to them based on data that is available because of their statement or their customer type. It makes it more relevant and meaningful to the customer. and graphs and charts. This can be creative. It can be pretty simple to show usage, but wherever the data is available, this can be a major enhancement to really visualize the information for the customer, to show them maybe their original estimated gallons as part of their budget plan, the gallons they've used so far, the gallons that are remaining. That's a great way to show in a graphical representation where the customer stands, and it really gets to a more meaningful and informative statement and document. Another area for enhancements is really in marketing integration. So if you can integrate with your marketing and really pull in the billing with your marketing strategy, there's two things that can be accomplished. One is cross-selling and upselling to generate revenue. So making that offer to the customer who doesn't have a service contract to get them into a service contract, that's revenue generating. That's part of your marketing that is probably going to be a separate email or a separate initiative even. The second reason for integrating marketing is that cost savings. So as part of your marketing strategy, perhaps you have separate direct mail, direct marketing, or direct emails to customers to promote service plans or promote budget plans to cash customers like myself. I know I'm constantly seeing mail telling me how much I should be on an automatic payment or a budget plan to reduce the uncertainties of payments during the heating season. So all of those are separate marketing initiatives that cost money. And if they're integrated into the document, this can then reduce the cost of those separate mailings, both in the postage, because you're riding along with an operational document, as well as the actual production of a separate marketing piece. So really getting marketing involved in this is a key point, both internally and for providing a more relevant and meaningful document to the customer. Because another sort of side note of marketing is it doesn't do the customer any good to blanket them with generic information or generic messages or promotions. Really having the personalized approach, knowing who the customer is, and then being able to target that marketing specific to them, because we know the customer information, we know that data as part of the statement. That really brings it back to the customer and making it relevant. And then that leads into the document strategy. So if we pull this all together into an overall customer document strategy or a customer communication strategy, it's really thinking about the customer, not as a distraction, but with relevant information. Answer questions before they're asked. Present clear information that is useful for them and doesn't create confusion and frustration. So for instance, the amount due. This is a key one for budget customers. Because budget plans are typically so, I wouldn't say so complicated, but they can be seen as complicated by some customers. Showing a very clear representation of what their payment, what the amount due is really represented from, is a great way to provide a very customer-centric document and answer questions before they're asked. So you typically know there's a budget plan, there's a payment amount, there might be past due budget amounts, and then there's going to be non-plan charges that are separate from the budget charges. Showing those in a nice equation format is a great way to clarify for the customer what their amount due is. And then ultimately, you want to reduce those billing calls to the call center or customer service. And then building in the strategic marketing, getting them involved and take advantage of the opportunities of revenue generating to cross-sell products and services to your existing customers. And then and then cost savings with integrating those messages and even inserts into these operational documents to reduce the cost of external or outside marketing. And then having consistency across all channels. This is a key part of this document and communication strategy, making sure that you're able to support all of the channels, and this includes mailing and emailing, as well as online access to customer portals and making payments online, driving people online to make payments. This can also drive costs down, because the cost of taking a payment online is going to be cheaper than mailing out another statement and receiving those check payments through a lockbox. Driving them online and then encouraging paperless delivery. That's all sort of part of this communication strategy. And then ensuring that the appropriate people have access to these same documents across all channels. So your customer service should be able to see exactly what your customers are seeing when they get their documents. So when they do happen to call, they're able to answer the questions that customer may have by seeing the exact documents and statements that the customer received. So questions to ask yourself. We already asked you one sort of pre-quiz on, but we're going to ask you some more here. Do you already have a customer document strategy? Is it serving your needs, or is it serving your customers' needs? Was it really developed to get to those customer needs, to address those customer needs? Or was it developed to basically make sure that you're getting bills out the door? When was the last time you evaluated your customer documents and the overall process? And then when was the last time you asked your customers what they think about their statements? Do you do focus groups, or do you ask for surveys? Those kinds of things. Those are very, very useful tools to gather the information that you need to really build that overall document strategy if you don't already have it. And then what can you do today and tomorrow? It's really compiling the answers from that previous slide to be able to compile and pull together customer feedback. What are they really asking, or what are they calling about? What would they like to see changed or enhanced on their documents? Or just in general communications. Like, this can include a lot of different things, like the delivery invoices, dunning letters, all of those customer communications, and then evaluate the opportunities for marketing and getting marketing involved. That's really something that can happen today or tomorrow. Seeing what do you do today, and if there are more opportunities. Maybe as simple as just getting some loyalty branding on your bill to build that brand. And then do an assessment of the costs of collecting the money. So currently, what does it cost to have sales outstanding, and how many days does it take to collect that money? If the answer is more than 30, then really getting down to what are you doing to encourage that payment, and why are they not paying? And then that can very easily drive those costs of collecting money up, because people are not paying. So, and then of course it all comes down to those customer communications and documents. Are there things that you can do now or tomorrow or next week that will enhance that customer experience through a document redesign? Can you contact your vendor about doing a document redesign? All those are things that you can take away today and put on the to-do list, and get the proper people involved to get started.
All right, great. Thanks, Mandy. This is Tim again. So if you're at a point where you're contemplating some sort of revitalization to your document strategy, that's an appropriate time to think about what vendors to engage and to discuss and to bring into your inner circle to kind of talk through and to come up with solutions. So what should you expect from your vendor? A common refrain that we'll hear from our customers is that fewer vendors make their life simpler and smoother, more predictable. So certainly, as you're thinking about a vendor for your document strategy, really think about all the touch points that you have with your customers, whether it's paper, online, whether it's part of your recurring document strategy or occasional mailings, even your planned mailings, welcome packages. There can be benefit to having someone who can handle all that under one roof, so your communication strategy is cohesive. The vendor that you should consider really should have sophistication with data, and to really understand how to take that data that is coming out of your core system and applying it and presenting it to customers in a way that's really effective and really helps build the relationship that you want with them. So that data is important from a clarity standpoint for billing, but incorporating your marketing strategy and utilizing the data, as Mandy referred to earlier, to communicate those messages that are appropriate for the kind of relationship that already exists and for the kind of relationships that you wish to develop. So having experience with ad systems and Cargus and other integrations, that's all very valuable too. There is a real benefit to knowing kind of how to utilize the data, where to look for the data, and every core system has their own unique way of organizing that data. And so you all have a good amount of knowledge, but it's also very beneficial to have a vendor who understands those integrations and how best to utilize that data. And then it's really valuable to have a vendor that is, like you, focused on elevating the customer experience. In addition, it's one thing to want to provide all this flexibility and to want to participate with you to enhance the experience of your customers, but there really is a lot to it. There's a lot of technology that's involved to be able to provide that flexibility, where so often solutions can be canned or limited by the template or by the infrastructure that is included with solutions. You really want to find a vendor that has the technology infrastructure and the management wherewithal to allow for kind of a clean slate to begin with, to be able to say what's important for your customer base, what's important for your brand, and the right technology, the right software, the right talent has a lot to do with being able to deliver on that desire. All of this is really important and certainly valuable for a lot of very obvious and sometimes subtle reasons. But the reality is that you've got to find a vendor that's going to help you save money. You expect it. You're not going to go to the other members of your leadership team and ask for a change to be taken without cost savings. It just doesn't happen. So you've got to have a vendor who absolutely expects to deliver on that cost savings. And that can come in a variety of ways, whether it's the transaction cost itself for getting those documents in the mail or delivered by email. But in addition, to have a vendor that can be creative and capable of combining where appropriate. If duty to warn, for instance, is appropriate for those who are serving propane customers, and that's a requirement on an annual basis, there are many ways to handle that mailing. And some people will put a separate stamp and mail that duty to warn separately. But there's no reason why that can't be incorporated into the documents that are already going out. With a little bit of foresight, a little bit of planning, that's an example of where those duty to warn required documents can go with a free ride, essentially, with postage that is already being expended. Those kinds of examples really do add up. So anyway, find a vendor that is on your side to deliver savings. So just a little bit about us at MPX. We really deliver the touch points that work for you and for your customers, and that those items are delivered certainly on paper, online in an increasingly common manner. And then the other piece of it is on phone calls, where in addition to helping your customers self-serve and to be tended to without the need for intervention, there are times, as much as the consumer population today resists being on the phone, there are going to be times when they want to call or have to call. And when they do, it's a bit of a conundrum. They don't choose to be on the phone, but when they are, they really want for your full attention, for your full knowledge, and they want to be recognized. And there are a number of tools that we do to equip your customer service team to see all the documents that have been delivered and to be able to handle those inquiries with great efficiency and great competency. So here at MPX, we really thrive on relationships where our clients are forever seeking to improve the experience of their customers. And we really believe that it's your customers' positive experience that fuels your success. And conversely, that's the only way that we succeed. So we appreciate your listening today, hearing some of the thoughts that we've shared on improving your document strategy and the role that you and potentially we or other vendors can play. As far as in a moment, we're going to go ahead and answer questions. So please go ahead and type into the window, into the chat window, to the attention of the organizer, any questions that you have. But I also want to let you know that on the 12th of October, that we will have a follow-up to this session on the online version of what can be done to improve the customer experience. So we welcome those of you who can attend on the 12th, and more to follow. We'll provide. We'll go ahead and provide follow-up so that you can attend that. So let's go ahead to the questions.
Okay. So one question we have here is what is the benefit of outsourcing this function? And I'm going to assume as opposed to doing it in-house or managing the billing and statement process in-house by yourself.
So I guess there are a variety of reasons why it's a benefit. One is because if you pick the right vendor, that's what they do. They are experts at that, and the efficiency that they can do it with, the cost savings that they can provide, the enhanced experience that they can deliver in a collaborative manner with you can be extremely beneficial. Their added knowledge and the best practices that they would bring from within the energy industry and some of the vendors that you'll consider are in other industries too, where they can apply those best practices. The other is that when you think about the process that occurs internally, billing doesn't happen every minute of every day. So there are peaks and valleys. And so typically what's happened is that it's your staff that gets pulled when they're otherwise could be doing other things. So the real benefit is that you're letting the experts go ahead and take care of this important function and allowing your people to continue to be in the position of making decisions and interacting with customers in a way that really adds value, as opposed to doing administrative work that others can do in more effective and cost-saving ways.
So it looks like we've got a couple other questions in here. This is great. Do you suggest surveying customers about statements with focus groups or other means? Sure, I'll take that. Absolutely. One quick and easy way to really gather this information is to go talk to customer service. I mean, they're really the ones on the front line, getting these calls and listening to the customers. But a little more formally is, yes, you can send out surveys. You can send like an email to a link to a survey. You can use the statement messaging areas to really to drive people to provide more feedback or more information as well, and then gather that information to compile really your plan for what to do or what to change or what might need to happen to improve that customer experience. So absolutely, whatever methods that are feasible or economical to your situation would certainly be a great way to gather that information. But if you can't go as far as setting up a formal focus group that is mediated by a professional group, then by all means, a great way is to go talk to your customer service folks.
So another question is that what's the typical time frame in order to implement something along these lines, to bring in new documents, and kind of who are some of the common people that are involved within an organization? So that the timing can be thought of in a couple of ways. If there aren't a lot of decisions to be made and there's a really clear path that is determined, an implementation can take 4 weeks. What typically happens, though, is that there's some back and forth with which we encourage and we welcome between operating departments, customer service, between marketing, and there's a collaborative kind of creative process where the document design unfolds with all of that input. And as a potential vendor, we certainly are happy to collaborate and participate in those and bring ideas. But that process can take 4 or 5 weeks on its own. So really it depends on the pace with which decisions are made internally. But from a vendor standpoint, we can do it in 4 weeks. So add another 4. So it's 2 to 3 months to do it in a really effective way.
Who?
And then so kind of a offshoot of that is who should handle the statements and documents. Is that really an administrative function or a marketing function? It can be both. It really depends. I mean, I think that often it resides within an operating department, but marketing has appropriate and significant influence to make sure that the real value of that communication is enhanced to the point where it gives that best experience.
And let's see, there's another question. I think I'll do this by basically stating that another piggybacking on the reasons to outsource, I guess, is another benefit is the integration with software companies and being able to provide online sites and document access to all different kinds of documents and versions of documents. An outsourced vendor would have the ability to integrate at an API level or like seamless sort of web service, web calls, integrations. There's a lot of different ways that an outsourced vendor can adapt to a client situation and provide a very seamless experience for that customer. So just an added point to that. I don't think we see any more new questions here.
Yeah, no, it looks like we've got all the questions and tried to share a little bit of input to give you feedback, and we really appreciate your attention and your participation today. And if there's anything we can do to be helpful as a follow-up, please feel free to reach out, and we'll also send the webinar, these slides out to each of you so that you have them. And again, thanks so much, and please let us know if we can be helpful. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.